ideas of wrongdoing and right doing. There is a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. Ideas, language, even the phrase each other doesn't make sense. Hi everyone. Today I'm happy to introduce you to my friend Emil. You will note at the end of this introduction, I mentioned that Meet Me in the Field is now supported by African Travel Kid. Well, Emil is the owner of this exciting travel company, and I am happy to have him here to tell us about his thrilling journey. This podcast is supported by The First Layer, the 12-step workbook on working through the 12 steps in any addiction in 21 sessions. There is also a 24-day step coaching and counseling program available based on The First Layer. For more information in this regard, go to www.freddy.org.za and click through from the notices at the right of the homepage. Meet Me in the Field also enjoys the support of African Travel Kid Adventures and Tours, the travel company that will help you to make the unknown your known. Check them out at africantravelkid.com. Enjoy this special time I spent with this special person. Emil, welcome to Meet Me in the Field, our podcast about spiritual journeys. How are you doing?
Awesome. And yourself?
I'm very well, thank
Glad
you very
to
much.
be here. Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Thank you for making the time. I know you are extremely busy, like all of us basically.
Exactly.
All of you basically. I think I sometimes just keep myself busy to say that, I'm so busy.
Yeah, exactly.
But you definitely sound quite hectic. Emil, you are still a young man.
Yes, I am.
But it seems from what I know about you as if life has definitely taken you on a few journeys that has contributed to who and what you are today.
Yes, definitely.
So let's chat about that a little bit. From what I know about you, you grew up in Stellenbosch.
Yes.
You are part of a Afrikaanse family.
Yes. Very proud Afrikaans family.
Very proud Afrikaans family. Cool.
Structurally.
And did you grow up religiously, or did you grow up with a sense of spirituality in your life? Or
religion, I always had an example of family members, like in my grandparents and my cousins and my aunts and uncles, and the Bible was also a centerpiece, and it would be something that we practiced.
Okay.
It wouldn't be something that we lived.
Okay.
But I did have family members that were quite spiritual in the way that they practiced the religion and Christianity and the Dutch Reformed Church. So I did also get a bit of, so seeing my family and my parents and the way that they would have little phrases just to give them power, I could say. Yes. And they would use it to manipulate us as children.
Something like, eer your father and your mother.
Exactly. And that was like my dad's phrase.
That's honor your father and your mother.
Honor your father and your mother. Yeah, that was it. They would have these kind of quotes. But that was also, because I saw a lot of happiness in the church, and I did see a lot of sense to religious ideologies, and I saw my grandparents happily married, and I saw them like people that were glowing. But that's because they had the spiritual side of it.
Yes.
Whereas my parents at the time, not that I'm saying they have changed, but they weren't knowing what was going on. They were young. They were also resentful to the church, so they had their own issues that they brought into it. But they're like, you have to go. It was like a forced feeling, and it's boring. And my dad always would fall asleep, and it was just this kind of and they stopped going, and they were like, so it was something they did just to fit in.
Okay.
And there would be a lot of fights as a child. So because of all of that aggression I had, seeing my dad be quite abusive. I won't go into detail into that right now, but it was sort of like a facade. It was something to hide something, and they would always bash the church and say that the people that go there are hidden and that they have ulterior motives and they're not honest. So I was always just there, but I never knew. I was never really participating. I was also just there to be there, and everything I did, even going through school, I was there just to be there. It was, my mind would also be, when I was probably shell shocked from what happened at the house, that I think I led with that trauma. I would go to school, I would go to do things, sport, everything. But I would always have that thought, what if my mom or dad aren't at home? What if one of them have killed each other or themselves? Because the emotional state in the house was crazy.
Yeah.
As nice and, how can I say, privileged it also was. From a point of how they provided and how hard they worked, yes, I respect them for that. And they have changed. I've realized a lot of, obviously, Christianity and religion has been interpreted over and over and over and over and rewritten, and you can say what you want about it. Like, I'm just like, but there's to a point where spirituality is so important, because it's not just about going to church, it's those small little deeds it enables us to do. And the core of it is love. Love thyself, love thy neighbor. That kind of, the core values of that is something beautiful. Yeah. And there's a lot of those things about it that I do like. And like even the sex before marriage thing, which would be very funny now, people, especially my age,
is that the part you like?
Saying that, you know what? You know, in a way, because I saw people in healthy relationships, like my grandparents and my aunt, because they were always in this one relationship. And they actually waited. But they went through things together, like through pains. They lost a child. They lost, and they grew up, and they had this beautiful family and created this thing where my grandma helped my grandpa when he started. He didn't have anything. She finished her degree. She was busy. She was a teacher. She supported him while he was studying, and he obviously contributed by doing extra work. He was like a secretary at that time, and he rose to become a director for a tobacco company. And the rest is history. But he's had a lot of love around him, and that is where I see when religion is, when the little guidelines, it's there. It doesn't have to be that strict. Nothing has to be. But I know people have felt they've been forced, and I understand that. And I think that's why, you know, and even like doing my tourism, I read about the way that the religious archetypes of them evangelicals that came to South Africa to actually pronounce Christianity to the people. They started forcing Christianity on them, and they also forced their ways. But they didn't look and say, maybe these people, they didn't think that the way that they were living was actually better to the environment, sustainable. So they wouldn't see those little clues that, I can also learn something. And I think that is where like, religion went a little bit... I don't know for yourself.
So they try to. It sounds as if what I'm hearing is a few things.
It's a forced route. Sometimes it can be forced, so and that's when it's like
they try to force a square peg into a round hole.
Yes,
that's the one thing. The other thing that I'm hearing from you is that in a big way, Christianity or the church-going part of your family was nearly like a facade. It wasn't really felt, and it wasn't lived. And then the last thing that I'm hearing from you is that the picture I'm getting strangely in my head was of Emil like nearly being an extra on a stage during a play. You're there, but you don't really have a voice and you don't have a role, and you just go through your paces.
Yes.
And that is it.
Completely.
Okay, cool. So you grew up in Stellenbosch, went to primary and to high school in Stellenbosch. You look like a very, very active type of person. Were you active in sport and those type of things at school?
Oh, yes. It was a big escape for me as well. And like I remember gymming to get bigger so that I could intimidate.
Ah.
Yes.
Okay.
Because of so I took everything the wrong way. Everything I got. But I also did some good, because I mean, now I go with my grandma to the church and stuff, and I take it for what it is, because it's just, if it's done peacefully and it's done with an open mind as well.
Yeah, open mind.
That's it. And the church is changing, because I went and I heard the same, there's this community here, and I went to it was just also, the priest was actually quite honest, and he was talking to the community, it's Afrikaans, and he said, like, we have become consumers and we have become detached. And that coming from a Reformed Dutch church is quite open-minded. So just in my sense also, I've become open-minded to saying that there might be some method in the madness, and they have probably got some reasons. I do know that everything's also not great, and in all religions, if we have to look at all religions, we're going to all disagree. If we're going to look at all,
absolutely,
if we're going to look at, and also humanity, every civilization has committed genocide, and in all histories, we've all fought wars. In history and back in
the name of religion.
In the name of religion, in the name of, well, greed. Let's call it greed is the number one. I think our one flaw is greed. I think we use religion as the reason, but it's greed. Humanity's greed.
Yeah.
The Vikings, back in the day, look how many people they slaughtered. They didn't need it. They started trading. They realized we're becoming wealthier if we just trade.
Yeah.
And they stopped slaughter, and they stopped fighting and raiding. And now the Nordic countries, it's like the most civilized countries on this planet. The most evolved. They've got the most liberal thinking ideas. And these were so-called barbarians. And that's how we can all evolve. And if you hear their ideas and their things about everything, it's quite open and it's quite free. And that's, I think, which is beautiful, is that even religion has a way to change for the better. And I think it's important that we know that it gives the message, but it's the way we do it.
Yeah.
And spirituality should be highlighted and not formality.
Yeah.
I think.
So as a teenager, did you connect with the church message, or was it truly just an action you went through?
Just an action. And
Totally
there was
an
nothing I could there was also nothing. And there was also no reason for me, because I was not in this environment of where the spirituality was in practice what you preach. It was not. It was completely a powerful thing, so that I can be self-righteous. Okay. My family, just my personal family, not the rest of the family, but my household that I grew up in, it was a self-righteous high horse kind of a deal. My parentals were not the most honored Christians, I could say, in the way that they would practice.
So there wasn't really in your family of origin with your parentals, there wasn't there was no serenity, but also no true role model for you.
No.
So you were actually kind of lost in terms of this is what's being taught in an organized structure.
Yes.
But you don't see that actively anywhere.
Spot on. That's spot on, because it was like this complete. It's like, but what does anything matter at the end of the day? That's what my thing was like. What does anything matter? Because of what I was sort of confined to, and then I was also at that point, because I also did have my grandpa and my grandma as role models. I was also even more more.
This just confused you.
Confused me so much, and that's also, and also because you're like, but this is how it should be in the world.
Yeah.
But then you're living in a house where it's not like that.
Yeah.
But then you're taught this is what it should be, and then you go out and you realize, oh my gosh, the world is actually quite a fucked up place. And it's like this roller coaster, and it's like there's this sort of like, you wanted to protect me, it didn't. And then I went, so I should have probably just been able to say that, it's fine if people have issues and stuff as well. And they don't, but I was not geared with that. I was geared with like, everything is perfect, or you're fucked. I don't know, or it's not. It was something that was very confusing, as you said.
It sounds as if you went through very much the same process as I did, where I entered life and I felt so ill-equipped for life.
Yeah.
I just didn't know how to do this thing that they called life. It feels as if everybody around me kind of managed okay, and I just didn't.
Yeah.
So having left school, what happened then?
Okay, so I studied a little bit and worked for my dad. Hated it. I wasn't grateful as well, and I was just like, I was over it. I was also over the whole place I lived in my whole life. Sort of racism, system. It's just like a cocoon, of a lot of isms.
Okay.
And can't is an amazing word for some of these people. And then it was like, okay, I did economics 2 years, through UNISA, and also I actually didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't enjoy working, and because I felt like I didn't have any freedom, and I was a little baby about it. I felt sorry for myself, and I wanted to escape. I was also like over the whole house thing.
Yeah.
My dad and I the relationship was just bad, and it was just even intimidation when I'm trying hard to impress. Doesn't work. I'm just getting bigger, gymming a lot more, started using steroids. Yeah, because I wanted to be even bigger and more intimidating. Yeah. So I was very angry and big man and like strong. Anyway, so I decided I wanted to do something and got a yacht master offshore yachting license because I had friends that were working on super yachts.
Okay. Where did you do that?
I did that in Cape Town.
Okay.
It took about a year. And it's a 200-ton skipper's license. And yeah, the next thing you knew, I was in America.
Eventually got away.
Yes. I ran. Exactly. It was this America, land of the brave and the free. Opportunity. And but you
Where
get
in America
there.
were you based?
I was in Fort Lauderdale in the beginning. The life is so different. People don't have the struggle. They don't have this economic separation. They don't have the reality of working, I think, with ground almost. It's like they live these fast-paced lives, eat takeaways, and they almost don't realize that there's something else. So it was also good. It was fun. It's an amazing kick because it's so.
Because you know what, 21 years old.
Yes, everything's easy. You don't have people. Everything's easy, and I'm young, and also I also was frustrated because I couldn't go out here, and I go there, and this is like party central.
Mm-hmm.
Florida, Miami.
This is what year?
Fort Lauderdale.
2011.
11, yes.
There you go.
I was 22, 21, and I get there. Like I was here, I didn't part. I was definitely drinking a lot in South Africa, binge drinking. I got there and got work straight away because I worked harder than everybody coming from where I came, and like my family was like you've got to work.
Yeah,
you've got to work harder than everybody else. Proud of Afrikaans work ethic. Okay. If it's not done, it's not done. That's how Afrikaners, I think, as well. I don't know if you're saying South Africans or Afrikaners.
I know my mother taught me that if you want something done perfect, if you want something done well, do it yourself.
Yeah.
So
my dad as well.
The consequence of that was that I never learned to delegate.
Yes.
I just never learned the art of delegation.
Oh, yeah.
Because if I wanted something done, I did it myself. And then suddenly you find yourself in life in a managerial position and you work yourself into stupor. And all the people below you just kind of, what are we supposed to do?
I did start getting into positions where I had people under me, and because of my work ethic got me there.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to bash it. That it's not something that's bad to have.
It works for us for a while, and then suddenly it starts working against us.
Yes.
Yeah. So are you now skippering, or what are you doing?
So then I get to the point. No, I was mate after 3 years, and parties are wild. Parties are wild.
Okay.
Did my, I would do like a visa run, go to Nicaragua. That's where I did my first drug of choice, cocaine.
Okay.
And it was like a movie. It was this hostel, just chicks from all over the world. Ridiculous, Australian. And there was just this drug dealer guy with his white vest. And I just watched Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, in Pain and Gain, and doing these huge lines of cocaine, and I was like, oh my god, that looks so fun.
Yeah.
And that was I was like, when in Rome, I would have never done it had I not been in Nicaragua and in Central America, and it was so prevalent. It was everywhere, and it was just rum and whatever rum, and I was like, fuck it, these
rum
people,
and Coca-Cola.
Yeah, and these people that are doing the cocaine are actually continuing, and I have to pass out. Fuck that. And then I was like, and it was free, but I did it, and I did so much. This huge line, like a Dwayne Johnson, the line in Pain and Gain. And I couldn't feel my face for days. I couldn't sleep. But it was so good. It was so good. It was so bad. I was in the back, and it was just like, I couldn't. I was like, it was this. My first, and it was just, I was like, that's the last. The first, it was huge, and it's a lot. And no, it was never the last time.
So now you're discovering how the other side lives.
Yes.
Cool.
And I'm discovering new cultures, and I'm discovering. I long for, like, I completely was able to drop my preconceived ideas of the world and life and everything, and that's why I learned quite a lot in a quick time. Travel does that, and that's why, like, it was still fucking amazing.
Did you ever end up
I'm not going to say it was not amazing.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I would do it over
Anytime.
exactly the same any day. 3 years later, Bahamas, Caribbean, like, I actually did well. Like, I got work, I got promoted, my work ethic was strong, didn't change. In that sense, I got a thing for a TV show, but I started doing partying now, and using Molly and going out, and it's just work hard. Yeah, Molly is basically MDMA in America.
Okay.
So, but it's a mix. So it's just this. They call it a white girl drug. Obviously, my DOC was cocaine and alcohol, especially whiskey, and that was my thing. Was my combination. It also made me feel almost smart, you know. It made me feel like classy in a way, like I can manage with this. I'm not hungover, and I can continue working, and it's work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard. It's that whole motto. Everybody does it. South Florida is a party place. Some of the owners also, and like coming from that background, it was like a huge turnover. Latin America as well was awesome. But that was another thing where I just saw warm people and a warm culture, but they still had that spiritual thing, and they still go to church, and but they practiced it differently. Okay. And that's where I learned that there's no such thing as the right way.
Okay.
There's such a thing as many ways.
Oh, cool.
And that's where I started to learn that, you know what? Maybe that is what it is. And the older people weren't as serious. They were more like, tranquilo, you know, like so. It's like, relax. Look at, you know, and they were more like, I'm this old, I don't take anything serious. Whereas I know my older people, they're not like that.
Definitely.
No. Yeah. You know, our culture is very dramatic and almost too serious, because I think we have fear. I think fear is also based around, that seriousness is based around fear, because it's like, if I'm serious, I'm focused on what I learned. Even then, I guess, was that the world is not a set place. Things aren't just set. And I think I was quite lucky to realize that. But even though I was still questioning and fucking up, basically, and emotionally not going anywhere, and still feeling stuck, and still calling I would still call my mom there when I was on a downer. And especially with that MD stuff, the Molly is so bad. You feel, I think it takes all your serotonin away, and you feel like you've been hit by 5 buses, and so I would have these calls where I would be weeping, and she was like, "Are you sure? You know, you don't want to." Back then, they were like, "You should maybe come back and go to a treatment center."
Yeah. Okay, so they knew about the drugs.
Well, just the drinking and the behavior, I guess, as well, because I was cut off from them. Like, I didn't really want to show love and stuff, but I did.
Okay.
So it was like this catch-22, you know, what do I do? Do I love them or do I not? What do I do? I had no capacity or idea how to cope with emotions.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed to take my emotions away. And I guess it came to that because also by that time I assaulted my dad before I left.
Okay.
I hit back in a way, you know. And
well, now you're a big guy.
Yes. And I was trying to help him, and it was just the same behavior. Everything was just a circle.
Yeah.
And it never stopped. And that's why I did it. It was like, enough. Anyway, and that he couldn't understand it. But after that, he went to stuff, and he went to see, and it was, you know, was hard for him, my dad. It's hard for me, and it's hard for my mom, because everybody played a role.
You're the only child?
No, I have a sister as well.
Okay. Oh, yes, I do know that.
She also fell out of the nest, so to say, if you want to call it that. But I do love her. I love them all, actually.
Okay.
And I do know that a lot of the pain, we've survived it now. And it's a new journey that we have together. And I call them, we talk, we do things. Not as much, I'm not feeling, because I know I love them.
Yeah.
And I know they love me. And I know
you don't have to fake it anymore. You don't have to go through the symbolism of doing things to prove that you do.
Exactly.
That's interesting.
Self-love as well. I
suppose that's possibly... It freaks my mother out that I have a brother who lives in Durbanville. And we speak on an irregular basis and we see each other on an irregular basis. But it freaks my mother out that we don't see each other a lot. The need is, we love each other dearly, but we don't have that need. We don't have to hang with each other to pretend that we're that close.
Yeah,
but I know that the minute that I need somebody, he will be there for me.
Awesome.
And the same.
That's a healthy sibling relationship. Yeah. I have my grandma, but that's my, at the moment, she's my pillar. And like for me, coming back from that journey, I could say.
So how long ago did you return? How long were you in?
2 years. I was like 3.5 years.
Okay, that you were there.
Yes, but I also got onto a reality TV show.
Okay. Oh yes, let's get to that.
Yes. So it's called Below Deck. It's also about working on the yachts. So my life has also been lucky, unlucky, lucky, unlucky. But who's, I guess, isn't? I guess I was very lucky to be given the opportunity to do it. I took it. And I got a big ego as a result. And so
much for honesty.
Yeah.
Thanks for your
honesty. I don't have to lie. I just say I did get a big ego. And it was definitely something that I going out there and everybody would know me. Girls would buy me drinks. People would just give me pills, and it was like quite ridiculous. I think that is when I partied the most after that, because it was so easy and it was an event. Every floor, it was just like events, invites, and then I stopped getting yacht jobs because of that, and also because of my name now, and also I did a trip to South America and I did in Central America, and I did a sort of a backpacking journey with a friend, and this was I was quite rough. I would probably be drunk most of the time. Okay. I thought it was funny to be so drunk, and amusing and like a show almost, and that I could just. And no, I also would even do cocaine in scallampies if I in the dark if. With there was this one chick I met, and she also did it. No. On the show I was just drunk. Okay. There's no and I smoked weed once. You always find that one person that makes it easier for you to do it, and that's how I did it on that trip. Is I actually did it just with her. We would do quite a lot alone and share and whatever and get. Because it's quite tricky. You've got to try and talk to the locals and and some areas there it's not that accessible. It was just also the friend I was with didn't actually like it, so I didn't want to act like I was doing it. For me, it was just a game. It was fun because I think I was so I was so I had such a devil in me that it was I can get away with this, and it was a challenge in a way. But it's true what you're saying.
It's all that naughtiness the whole time.
Yes, that mischievous act, and that's the whole thing. Is I think it made it sort of I'm getting away with this. Yes. But at the end of the day, what is the point? After all of this, going back to this, my visa was stolen. I felt very depressed about that because I didn't get a 10-year one again. I only got a 1-year visa. So it gave me stress when I went back and I had to look for work. But it was just the show they were doing recordings. They didn't really pay me at all. So I just had to be there so that they could decide we need to record you in front of a green screen. And it was just so much tension, and then boats couldn't sign me because I had to fly. It was just difficult. Okay. So my luck turned, and so with it also I continued to go out, and I was lost. There was a difficult. It was I didn't know what to do. Boats aren't give me. So I decided, let me try to do the acting thing. Let me try to get an agency there. producers or whatever. And I went to Miami. I got this lady that actually helped me for a bit. Well, not really. She was also scaly as hell. So I ended up, I saved through the day worker that I was doing, and I came back and I had investments. But I wanted to go back. Like, I didn't want to, I was like, fuck, South Africa, boring. You know? It's like, that was my attitude. And, parents, even worse.
Yeah.
So I was like this ungrateful, ungrateful.
It's also reality. As a friend of mine always says, reality used to be a friend of mine.
That's a good one. That's awesome. And it's also humility, Coming back, I was resentful extremely. I took it out on my parents, everything. And even they had like a holiday in the Transkei book, and they were very nice, letting me stay at their place, eat, like while I'm supposedly getting ready to get back onto the yachts as well, and getting a visa, trying to look for work. But then I decided I'm going to start a travel business here, South African Travel Kit.
Okay.
When we were in the Transkei.
That's when it happened.
Yeah,
that's when the idea started.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, because I was starting my Instagram following, my social media following was quite big then, and because I went on it for the show. Before that, I was never on social media, and I got a good following, and I started posting travel photos, and I had this hashtag called African Travel Kit, and
that's how it happened. Okay,
and so people
cool.
started messaging me, and it was like, and they're like, how you have this fun, and I was like, cool, maybe you should show them.
Yeah.
And that's like, boom, tours.
Okay,
and
cool.
I came back here, and I was quite inspired by being in the Transkei. It's like, wow, I thought, because I really thought South America was nice, and I was like, this is fucking amazing. We've got a gold mine here.
We have an amazing country.
This is amazing.
Amazing.
The nature here is so profound. It's like powerful. It's so much energy, and that is why I was like, this is actually where it's happening. And I realized that's what I'd rather want to do.
Okay.
And so, but obviously then I had this huge party habit following me around.
So you're now still in addiction?
Yes,
okay.
I'm still in addiction, full-blown addiction. And
Did you realize you had a problem at that stage?
Oh, no.
So it was just kind of, I party hard?
I party hard, yeah.
Okay, cool.
And I drink whiskey, I want a drip I want like a bottle. I want a drip, yes.
Single malt.
I want to be able to, yes. And it's got to be good quality at least, like at least Scotch. And it's very pretentious. And then I was like, I'm an artist. So I'm like, I can be like, and because I almost want to show Afrikaans people that there's something else.
Yeah.
And like, I wanted to be this professed to them, like this prophet of like, you guys are so dire and boring and dull, and you can't even, there's almost this thing. And I was like, I'm special as well.
Okay.
So then I'm like,
ooh,
telling
now you're
people,
special and
now
different.
I'm special and different. Yes. and I'm going to tell these people like, they don't know fuck all. I have these people that are following me, and I became like, this is that, and you're not, and just fighting with everybody, and just doing ridiculous things, shameful things towards my family, and disrespecting them completely, where it's unnecessary. They have actually changed. They've actually gone far in their lives and progressed. And I did not want to see it. I did not want to allow, but it was good that I came and it happened as well, because that brought me back here. It brought me back to Stellenbosch, and I got this girlfriend. I had like 3 in the time. Like that's also, and I don't normally. I'm not. I'm more of a. I concentrate on what I want to think about that later in life when I have certain things that I've achieved. So to me that was ridiculous. While I'm starting a business, and I just partied, went to festivals. I had to recover for 2-3 days. So I had like literally just 2 days with my brain. And then it basically led to me getting into a car accident with this girl, escaping it, unscathed, just a car. Didn't go to jail, and I couldn't recall it.
Oh,
I had to be told that by the next morning by my mom. And I was like, I was negative. And then I was like, this is it. You have to book in. And then I called the places, I looked up, and I booked myself in. Okay,
so you made the decision that the time has come.
Yes.
Okay.
I made the decision. Then I knew. But I still, even because I booked, so that weekend, so how powerless I am, that weekend I still went out and partied. and even so
I drank
before
while
I
my
went-
husband was in the
Yeah.
room busy packing my bags. I was in the kitchen.
oh wow,
Yeah,
that's true.
that's what we do.
Yes.
That's,
And I'm like, nah, I'm gonna meet this hot rehab chick, and I'm gonna be able to control my drinking, and I'm gonna be able to control everything. Man, did I get a reality
rude
check?
awakening.
Yes, and I realized there's a way better way.
Yeah.
By seeing that there's 12 steps, there's fellowships, there's ways to actually really excel at life and to
Yeah.
get life.
Can we just quickly freeze there for a second? I just quickly want to kind of summarize Emil the wild years.
Yes.
So, yes, Emil, early mid-20s, living the good life, traveling, meeting a lot of new people, drinking a lot, using a lot of drugs. But it sounds as if there was also a spiritual awareness. You were acutely aware of what you were seeing and what you were observing in other people. Was there a search?
Yes.
Okay.
It was this big search because it was like, I think it's that thing as a child, you know, that thing where it's like, I always want to be recognized. I always want to be loved. I've always been a conscious person, I think, in a certain way. But it's very true what you're saying is like I was asking questions, a lot of questions about a lot of things. And I was probably always depressed in that way.
Okay.
Not like I was always a fucking happy person, and I had a laugh, and I had a way to mask things, and I had a way to always be honest but dishonest, you know?
Yeah.
And that is where I realized that going and realizing these things and learning, and because I questioned the shit out of everything.
Okay.
Which is not a bad thing, which was probably my savior, I guess, because that's also how I saw when I ran down, I was like, fuck, like this is not possible.
Okay.
You cannot do this, because I had the ability to look at myself and say, rock bottom, bro.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay, cool.
That's no further.
Yeah.
This is it. And I realized my grandpa had a dad that drank and hit his mom. But did my grandpa become an alcoholic? No. Why? He chose.
Yeah.
And he chose because of his spiritual principles not to do so.
Yeah.
And that is this kind of things I could see. So I knew I was fucking up.
Okay.
That's how I was fucking up.
Yeah.
Completely conscious of it, which is weird. I don't know if some people don't, some people do, I guess.
I was aware as well.
Yeah, so that's also probably for you then. So it's exactly like you, and it's always like trying to get something out of people as well and trying to get that connection. But I'm so disconnected. How do I know? But it's just because I'm not connected to myself that I'm trying to find connection with everybody else. And that's, I think, that's why even the TV stuff and the all of that also was even worse for me. I had this empty feeling of self and this of accomplishment. That didn't make me happy. What is going to make me happy? You know, what is happiness was also a big question. And it was whiskey and drugs. It was cocaine and whiskey at the time. It was the only thing. That even the girl at the end, she just started buying me alcohol and because I would be a better person around her. I would show more affection. Because without it, I would be this empty shell.
Okay, yeah.
And that's now, like, that's crazy, actually, to think how far I think we have come. And I think for myself, I have come into the point of knowing that I work this program because it just gives me humility. It's part of the action I need to take, the selfless deeds, the little small selfless deeds to accomplish humility is in what I practice through doing the program.
So what I'm hearing is that in rehab you connected with the 12 steps and you reconnected with a live sense of spirituality.
Yes.
Something that you could live, that wasn't just a facade.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I delved into who Emil really is.
Yeah.
And
It doesn't have a choice if you work the 12 steps.
I delved into the history and I delved into me.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing is
that's
me.
scary shit to delve into me.
Looking at the man in the mirror and actually saying you're a bastard but you're also not a bastard.
Yeah.
And realizing why you are that way, and it's like it's quite a intriguing, especially because I had so many built up shit.
Yeah.
So it was like I had a lot of arguments and stuff, and also because I do also intellectualize quite a lot.
Yeah.
So that was also a problem for me, and I had a huge self will, huge. Like I went overseas, I did these things.
Yeah.
You telling me, you know, like I am this.
Yeah. What do you know?
That's when I cracked. That's when I realized it's my self will
Okay.
that was keeping me from progressing, because the counselors are like, fucking hell, dude. They kicked me. Yeah, they kicked me to the primary. So you know, our secondary like you evolve in the stages, and I guess and they're like, this guy's going nowhere. Nothing is changing.
Okay.
And they gave me a lot of literature, a lot of books to read, and they're like, if you don't come with a letter and with a reason and telling us what it is, we're gonna kick you out.
Oof.
Yeah. And I was like, motherfucker. And that's one thing, is like, I don't like failing.
Yeah.
Like I also don't. So I was like, that's not an option for me. And because I believed, Freddie, I believed I was doing well. I believed I was good.
Okay,
I believe I actually had that self sense of, but I'm so great. Emil went to a new country young and did all those things. Me on my own with like no money, and I'm this great. You know, I had this I did. The
and
illusion.
I'm keen for X amount of days.
Yeah.
So how can you tell me that I'm not progressing or not doing well?
Yeah, but then that was amazing, because they that's how you get to me as well.
Yeah.
Yes, and I was like, okay, and I did all the work, and it was amazing because I enjoyed it. I did it, and I just couldn't stop writing after that. That's also when I started writing. I couldn't stop then. I realized that writing, to me, is very therapeutic.
Yeah.
And something I need to do a lot.
Awesome. So writing is a spiritual practice.
Oh yes, definitely.
Okay.
That's where I learned. That it's my self-will, because the reading thing, and I was like, this is your shit. You have this thing that you are better than everybody.
Yeah.
You're this rising whatever you are. You think you're like
the British guy.
Yes.
Russell Brand.
Yes, you think you're a Russell Brand. You're not. Yeah. You think you have all the answers. You think you're so much more. You're way more intelligent. Everything. I just had this. My self will was so strong. I had to like bust it and say. And I'd say to him, guys, it's my self will.
Yeah.
And that's they're like, fuck. Finally, they questioned it, because they were so used to it.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is it. Like I know. Like, give me a chance. Please give me a chance. And they did. And that's where all the changes happened.
Oh, cool.
That's where the biggest change happened for me, is that realizing it's all me. And that's what I think is amazing about it. And the whole process, and writing nature. I've always had a huge affinity towards nature because of my grandpa.
Cool.
So it would be like, I love nature. I love being outdoors, hiking, cycling.
Yeah. So you're going to make a living from your passion.
Exactly.
That's excellent. That's excellent. Because the living that you're now making is through African Travel Kit.
Yes.
Which is a travel company.
Yes.
That's excellent. Cool.
And it's all my passions. It's basically taking people. It's about getting people in touch with nature, working with people I love. So I was doing that on the yachts.
Yeah.
I was creating charters and setting things up. It was amazing. I loved it. And also showing somebody that I think is special. And then seeing them get that same emotional wowness, that like breath.
Yeah.
And some of them cry afterwards, and some of them and they have a experience. And this business as well, like taking people now that are in recovery, taking people that are from different backgrounds, that want to work, that are struggling as well, but that are willing and hardworking and persistent, and that have also overcome.
Yeah.
I love it that people can overcome their greatest fears. Everything. I don't think there's something more than actually admitting I'm a drug addict, or I'm an alcoholic, or I've made a failure in my life.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest successes I see in people. I see that as one of the biggest advantages in life, because that takes complete self-honesty.
You're a
It
fucking
takes
warrior.
yes,
I
you,
love that. Yeah.
exactly. It takes complete, overhaul of how I live and everything I know and everything I've thought and everything I've done, and I have to change,
Yeah.
and that's not easy.
Listen, so what is God for you? Is there something God for you?
I love this. I try to avoid this answer every time people. I just say I'm spiritual.
Cool.
But you know what? I've had so many God moments that I call my God God.
Okay.
To
cool.
keep it simple. I don't wanna overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
I don't want to get, because then I might as well just be something. Anyway, no, I'm not gonna overcomplicate it.
I had a
I'm
sponsor
almost
say to
finished
me,
it.
God, one syllable, higher power, 4.
There
Why
you
don't you
go.
call it God? And I could not do it. No.
Wow.
No. No. I'd rather go higher power than God. No. No, I do it. No, God is...
They'll go, yeah.
No,
No, I
just
heard
listen.
you share once about
Yeah.
it, and I was like, yeah, you had to be very creative about it too. You were very creative about
So
getting your
God for you is living spiritually.
I
living
think-
spiritually for you is apply the
Connection. spiritual
principles.
Connection.
There you go.
Connection.
That is a word that comes up so
Yeah.
often in this podcast. It's
Awesome.
connection.
exactly, because it's like it just makes sense, There's little signs,
Yeah.
and I do call God God. Because it is the word, but it's the connection, and it's living spiritually, and it's living with hope, and it's living with morals, and it's living with good intentions, and it's and that's also my business. I want that to be it. A currency, what is the value? People know price is not there. It's like
Yeah.
the price of everything and the value of nothing. I value values, and that's what I've realized now is value of values is
Okay.
way more important than the value of any materialistic thing. If your intentions are good, that's actually it.
Yeah.
That's your connection. If you feel like you're connected to nature and you're connected to the moment, I
Yeah.
think that is what is possible. That makes a lot of good things happen and possible. And where as a civilization, where as a whole, I think we've gone wrong, is we aren't searching for connection. We are now consumers, and we're
Yeah.
searching for a escape,
Ah.
because that is what's happened with our world. Is we escape in our goods, we escape in everything. So everything is
Into a
basically-
screen.
Yes, into
That is possibly the
oh my
biggest
god.
escape these days. I went to a fascinating chat on Sunday, digital cocaine.
Oh yeah.
Very interesting chat. Very interesting.
Man.
Which was freaked me out because it was actually part of a church service.
Yes.
So I found myself sitting in a church service suddenly.
And you enjoyed it. And you enjoyed it.
It was so funny. So I was with a fellow in recovery, and he said to me, "Okay, so we stay.
Yes.
But the minute somebody crawls out under my chair speaking languages, I'm leaving."
Oh,
But listen, Neil, God, we've
Listen,
chatted.
man.
Okay, thumbs up.
yes. Okay, great. Thank
This
you
was
so much.
absolutely bloody awesome. Thank you very, very much for
I'd want to
taking
do
the time,
another
for
one.
taking
It'd
the
be
effort.
great. Yeah.
But anyway, listen,
Awesome.
thank you so very much. It was awesome. I'm so glad that you've done this.
Awesome.
Have a lovely
Thank
day.
you so much. Yeah.
Cool. As you can hear from our chat, Emil is a very energetic and passionate young man. I had to work hard to edit our conversation into a shortened version of everything we got to talk about. I love Emil's spirit of embracing this new way of life while working very hard on African Travel Kit, his recovery and his studies. I wish I still had that amount of energy. I also wish him all the success in the world. If you have any feedback or remarks, please feel free to pop me an email or connect on social media. It will be great to hear from you. If you want to know more about what I do, please feel free to connect with me on my website, which is www.freddy.org.za, or find me on Facebook at www.facebook.com/freddy.org.za/ or on Twitter at @RensburgFreddy. Remember that Freddy is always spelled with an IE at the end. I want to thank you for listening. Be safe. Bye.